Just another normal afternoon. Just another letter to post. Keep your head down, Molly Morris. That's what me mum always says. Though I don't think this is what she had in mind. Strange how your hands don't shake when you know you're doing right. All those years, women working fingers to the bone. Fingers numb from the cold. And now mine. They're steady as a surgeon's. The gentlemen at the post office, they're ever so particular about their post boxes. Polished them specially for the new king. George V's royal seal. Gleaming like it were made of gold. Soon be gleaming a bit less, I expect. I'll just bide me time for a minute. Nice and quiet, blend in. Gently does it. Pace yourself. Everything's got its own rhythm. Once you learn to listen. Like the factories and the mills. The looms, the spindles. The way time drags when women are working 12-hour shifts for half a man's wage. Well, that has to stop. And stop it will. There you go, my little troublemaker. Neat as you like. Steady as you go. Nobody's looking. Couldn't be me, could it? Haven't got the nerve. Couldn't be us Sheffield lasses, could it? We haven't got the education for something this clever. Not versed in Labour politics, are we? No, not us. Right then. One letter posted. One message sent. Not that anyone will read this one, mind. But by God, they'll know about it. Oh, hello, officer. I'm not stopping.
Inspector.
Aye, Inspector. Just been sending a letter to me ma'am. She's not feeling too clever. You know how it is. Rotten weather we've been having. Look at you, soaked.
Now then, Miss Morris. Care to explain why you were seen loitering around the King George V postbox in Sheffield city centre at precisely 3:45 yesterday afternoon?
Smart ass. No comment.
I repeat, Miss Morris. Explain, if you will, why you were seen loitering around the King George V postbox at precisely 4:45 yesterday afternoon. Oh, answer the question or we'll be here all night. And my wife, Mrs. Wilson, does not like me late home for my tea.
Were you timing me, Inspector Wilson? I'm flattered. Though you might want to look at your pocket watch when you say precisely. Only my says it was 3:55.
This isn't a joke, Miss Morris.
Course it's not. I were posting a letter to me mother, if you must know. As I said at the time, she's poorly, and I write her every Tuesday after my shift.
Most letters to mothers don't explode, Miss Morris.
You've not read some of mine, then? Only last week I told her I was thinking of marrying that Jack Murphy, Socialist and Union man from Crown Street. Thought roof were going to come off our house.
Bloody hell, him! You must be joking.
That's exactly what me mum meant. Only she didn't say it quite so politely.
We found a calling card that we led to believe had fallen out of your bag. Here.
Oh?
This one says votes for women in fancy ink. Very fetching, isn't it? It was slightly charred. That alongside the several small phosphorus packets which, as you well know, fire when mixed with air. You found near where you were standing. It appears they also came from your bag.
Fire? Do they? I've no idea about that. I'm a nurse, not a bloody scientist. That card, though. Well, purple is the latest fashion in political literature, Inspector. Or so they say. Seems everything's getting a bit singed these days.
Miss Morris, do you know how many hours I've spent watching postboxes?
How many?
73. In the rain. In December.
That sounds dreadful. Wonder you don't catch your death in all that rain we've had. I hope you've got an umbrella.
I've heard you're a bit of a flibbertigibbet, Miss Morris. Are you a member of the Women's Social and Political Union?
No comment.
Miss Morris?
Never heard of them.
Pull the other leg, it's got bells on it. Here now, miss. Stay clear, keep back from that postbox.
Is something wrong, officer?
Ah, there's been trouble. Windows smashing, stones being thrown, bombs. Now we know it's that London lot that do this kind of thing and not you young ladies. I wish everyone were more like you. It would make our jobs a lot easier.
Oh aye, them London lot. Right trouble causers, aren't they? Nothing like us sensible Sheffield lasses.
Exactly right, miss. Look. Hey. Did you hear something fizz just now?
Probably me watch. Got it from me dad. Keeps terrible time, but you know it is. Can't afford one of them fancy timepieces on nurses' wages. Mind you, could be something I had for me dinner though. I do feel a bit fizzy.
What's wrong? What was that?
That came from just over there, Leopold Street.
I think you're right.
You'd best be getting along then, officer. Can't have anybody causing trouble in our city. I'm off to Chapel Walk for a cuppa. I've left a few things in the tea shop that I need to pick up. A nice cup of tea. Settle the nerves after that bang.
You know what's interesting, Miss Morris? You were ever so helpful yesterday. Even pointing me in the direction of Leopold Street.
That's right. Very concerning, all them explosions. Though I hear the Royal Mail's thinking of introducing them as a new delivery method. Special express service.
And I suppose this diagram we found near your handbag is just your Christmas card list.
Well, it were meant to be, but you try writing cards when you're working 12-hour shifts. Do you know how cold it is? Fingers that numb, you can barely hold a pencil.
These X's correspond exactly with the Royal Mail postbox locations across Sheffield.
Really? Never noticed. Though I do see a lot of postboxes on my way to work. They're right pretty, aren't they? All big and royal. Shame about the singeing.
Do you recognise this, Miss Morris?
Should I? Looks like one of them fancy biscuit tins they sell down in London. Bit out of my price range, mind.
It's an improvised explosive device made from a milk tin. Found near the postbox not far from the town hall. Not far from where you were hanging about. I watched you loitering. Saw you messing about with things in your bag. Can I ask what those things in your bag might have been?
An improvised explosive device? Is that what that is? Clever, that. Must be them London Suffragettes again. They get all the fancy gadgets down there. I thought they'd be smaller than that whopper. That one would cause some real trouble.
It was found alongside an hammer, some large stones and a bottle of ink.
Really?
You know, for someone who claims to not know anything about explosives, you seem very interested in the talk I did last week. The one about windows smashing and letters burning and attacks at Victoria Hall. Weren't that you that sat in the front?
No. I think you might have me muddled up with someone else. But I did hear you were very passionate about it, Inspector. Would have been rude not to listen. Besides, it would have been more interesting than lancing boils all day on my nursing shifts. And now I know we have to be vigilant when we're out and about.
Where's the rest of the stuff that you were witnessed as having on your person at the scene of the crime? There was mention of you telling someone you were carrying small bombs.
I don't know what you mean. Bombs? No, not me. Yeah, I said I had some bonds on me from my auntie in France. That's all. They were in me bag. Perhaps that's them what made me guts a bit explosive.
Miss Morris. Molly. You know, my wife's been attending those meetings at Victoria Hall. The ones you and your friends organise. The women's meetings. I hear you're managing the Sheffield branch.
Oh, has she? Nice place, Victoria Hall. Bit grand for the likes of me, but we all end up there sooner or later. Usually just before we're getting arrested.
Refused to make me breakfast for a week after I arrested Adela, Mrs. Pankhurst's daughter.
Did she now? So you must have been toasting your own bread by the fire all that week then? How was it?
Burnt. Like those letters at the postbox.
Funny coincidence, that.
She says I'm on the wrong side of history.
Because you are, Inspector, and your wife has a point. Women aren't doing this for fun, you know. Try working full shifts at a factory or a mill, getting half what men get paid, and then being told you've not got the sense to vote. Have you not seen the way your police force treat any women they arrest? Don't tell me you've not had any instruction from above on how to treat lasses that are fighting for the right for women to vote. For the cause. It makes my blood boil to even think about tactics that you policemen use on us lasses.
Aye, well, perhaps you've a point. Born in Lancashire, weren't you?
Aye, I was. But what's that got to do with anything?
Explains a lot. Name's Herbert, by the way.
You can call me Molly Herbert.
Miss Morris. Molly. I wouldn't want to charge you or anyone else with criminal damage to His Majesty's Postal Service. You do know that bombing and arson are very serious offences, as is civil disobedience and vandalism.
Right then. Should I tell all the lassies working in the factories and the mill to expect you? There's about 30 of us who take the same regular route to work, past all them post boxes, and we all believe women have the right to vote. Does that make us guilty?
Molly.
You know what's funny? There's only them in authority that thinks any of us Sheffield lassies could be troublemakers. Yesterday you were of a mind that it's them London lot doing all this. Posh women, they say. Can't be any of us local lassies. So what's changed?
Aye, well. Perhaps it's time I turn the other cheek a bit more.
Aye, well. Perhaps so. Even local lassies can make history. Am I free to go then?
Aye, go on. Get on your way. Hey, I don't want to hear any more about you nor none of your friends. Bloody troublemakers.
Oh, and Inspector Wilson? You might want to keep that umbrella handy. Weather forecast says there's storms on the horizon, especially around them post boxes. And don't keep Mrs. Wilson at home waiting. You never know what she might be plotting. Did you say she was a Sheffield lass born here? Deeds, not words, Inspector. Tell Mrs. Wilson I shall see her next week at the meeting at Victoria Hall. Ta-ra, Herbert. Enjoy your tea.